Seismograph.
Seismograph. Yes.
You're
I told you my brain does
Audio
not
waveforms look like a seismograph.
look like an earthquake scratchy thing.
It's not an incorrect statement. It's just an interesting interpretation.
It's a stupid way to say it. I can own it.
I think levels are... Well, are my levels okay?
It looks like your levels are good.
I still didn't figure out how to do that.
Do you want me to back up?
I'm not worried about it. No, don't back up.
Yeah, I don't really plan on screaming much.
Don't back
for
up.
the intros.
Yeah, because
Welcome
when
to
you...
an angry podcast, motherfucker.
Okay. Welcome to the first episode of the Unreasonably Angry podcast, where we talk about things that really should not be as upsetting as they are to us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you were to ask the regular, normal, well-adjusted person, they'd be like, why is that such a big deal? But to us, fuck you, it's annoying.
At the same time, I think that the people listening to this are probably... have gravitated to it because they can relate to being unreasonably angry.
Well, we'll
about
see.
things.
This is episode 1, so hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Come on back. And if you don't, then, you're dead to us. That's okay.
Yeah. We'll be unreasonably angry about you not listening to it.
But these voices that you hear, my name is Eric.
And my name is Gary.
And sometimes we'll talk like this. But not normally. So what to expect from the show? Weekly, we do want to touch on things that have... driven us crazy throughout the week. Just observances of life. Observances of life. Sure. Is that the right word?
It doesn't matter. It makes you sound smart.
Observances. I don't think that's right.
It doesn't matter. You sound smart, so that's fine.
What's the right word? We'll also be touching down on some reviews from TV shows, music, movies that we like.
And of course, touching into the things that make us unreasonably angry about those.
Exactly. Yeah.
So... yeah.
Well, here we go.
This first segment is about driving. And, where better to be unreasonably angry than sitting in your car in the middle of traffic?
Yeah,
or
fuck.
After someone cuts you off, or etc.
So I was on the way home, I think just here in the last week, and got the girls in the car, and we're getting close to an off ramp. So we're like, okay, we're gonna get off here and head home. And there's a car, 3, 4, 5 car lengths in front of us. I mean, they're not close to each other. I mean, he's getting off on the exit. We're getting off on the exit. And the exit is one of those ones that kind of splits. As you come down, 2 lanes go to the left, and then 1 lane goes to the right.
Yeah.
Well, this guy got in the one that's going to the right, and then decided that's not the lane I'm supposed to be in. So he decides last second to flip his blinker on and just swerve over. And at this point, I'm right there. And so my wife... like, holy shit, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So I just kind of tap on the horn, like, hey, man, we're here. And I look back, and he's fucking going ape shit and flipped me off and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, what the hell? All right. So we pull up, and we're in one of the 2 left-hand lanes. We're on the furthest left-hand lane, and he's behind us. So I'm like, okay, whatever, it's over. But then he decides, no, I'm going to get next to you. So he pulls out from behind me, pulls up slowly next to me.
Oh, God.
Locks eyes with me and just flips me off.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the hell? He's probably mid to late 20s, maybe late 20s. So I'm like a little shocked. I'm like, how am I the fucking bad guy here? So I roll my window down, which probably wasn't a great idea.
Oh, God.
He rolls his window down, and I'm like, what the hell? And he goes... fuck you. And I'm like, no, fuck you. And he's like, you cut me off. And I'm like, you were in front of me. Like, how could I cut you off?
Yeah, that's physically impossible.
Yeah. So because I was trying to get over, and I said, I understand that, but you should have gotten over previously or made a blinker earlier.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, well, you didn't let me over. And so I roll my window up, and you can kind of see the look in his eyes that he realizes as he's saying these things that he's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you're in front and you try to swerve over a lane because you made a mistake.
Oh, that's the best kind of coming to the truth, is that while you're saying lies, you realize that it's lies.
And so I understand that in the moment of his embarrassment of making a mistake, he felt like flipping me off was the right move. But I'm like, hey, man, like, dude, you need to, like, think what you're doing before you do it.
Yeah.
And he literally, like, hears that, and then we both just roll up our windows and go on about our day. I look over at my wife, and she's got that look of, I'm in between two people yelling across cars at each other.
Yeah.
Like, oh, shit.
That's
And I'm like,
fun.
sorry. And she goes, no, you were actually right. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was it. But it kind of got me thinking about just how traffic works and how little people think about how what they do in their vehicle affects other people.
Right. They don't. Yeah. Well, the thing about it, I think, is that when you're driving, it's very like you're very much in your own space,
Insulated.
and and it's hard to think past that because, like, from the minute you take your driving test to the rest of your life, you're just driving in your car. You're not hearing what other people are saying about you. You're not part of everything. But people don't realize that traffic is made up of all of the people who are thinking about themselves.
Well, it's
and that's why there's always problems with traffic, is because everyone is thinking about themselves and nothing further than their
It really is
car.
that Louis C.K. bit all over. I mean, it really is the things that you
it explains
say
it perfectly.
and do to each other in the car, not things you would do if you were standing next to someone. But we're in a car where, and we really do, like, nowadays, we do live in a society where it's like, it's, what do I need to do? What do I want to do? How am I going to make this happen? I missed this exit. Oh, fuck it. And they just jerk over 3 lanes. And there's just no awareness of, hey, there's people behind me that may have not have known that that's what I was going to do. It's like,
especially if I don't use
happen.
my blinker.
Well, and that's the thing about blinkers, dude. I swear to God, I don't think people understand what blinkers mean. I mean, blinkers mean, I would like to get over. I would like to enter your lane. Not, get the fuck out of my way, I'm coming!
Yeah, exactly.
So they turn on as they're getting over. You don't have enough time to
Well, the only
react.
thing you need to know that people don't understand blinkers is that they don't use them until they start turning.
Yeah.
So clearly they don't understand the point of them.
It's basically like, it's like a red light turning red with no yellow. You know, it's just a green, red! You have a yellow light to warn you that a stop is coming.
Exactly.
The blinkers are there to let the people nearby know, hey, I'm going to swerve my 2-ton vehicle into
your 2-ton vehicle.
Exactly.
And you better get out of the way.
And and again, the thing that cracked me up wasn't, and I've done it. I did it just a couple weeks back. I didn't realize that I was in a right turn, and there was across the street they were making a left turn, but I didn't realize it was 2 lanes coming across. I thought it was just one.
Oh.
So as I'm watching that first lane go, I'm like, okay, I got a clearing, and I go, and I realize that I'm now blocking that second one, and I stop my car and I put my hands up, and I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And the person in the car that I blocked is like, fucking idiot. And I'm like, I'm stupid. I'm sorry.
I hate those moments. I had one of those moments where I was turning left, and it was a really busy intersection every day during rush hour. And the people in front of me start to zoom, and I'm like, oh, we got plenty of time. They're zooming ahead. And then they slam on their brakes because there isn't room to get into the other side. And I'm like, oh, shit.
That's
so, of course, I'm the one stuck in the middle of the intersection looking over the people who now have a green light to go straight. I'm like, look at this guy.
But they don't see
He's
that
the
guy.
one. Yeah, exactly.
They see you.
That's the problem.
You're like,
He's
I'm
the
the
one
asshole.
who zoomed ahead, totally thought I had time, and I totally didn't. So,
Like,
sorry.
I apologize. You get out. You take a bow. I'm very, very sorry. I am a worthless piece of shit. I apologize.
I hate those moments.
And the thing is for me, if you just do that, you go, dude, I'm so fucking sorry. I made a mistake. I don't even get mad. I'm like, dude, I get it. Like, no big deal.
Yeah.
It's that reaction that we have where I did something wrong. You called me out on it. I don't like that. Fuck you. And it's like, no, man. Just take responsibility that you screwed up.
Yeah.
And get on about your day. There's no need to. And the thing is, there's so many crazy people out there that you don't know who you're flipping off. Like, luckily it's me in the car with my wife and my daughter. I'm not gonna like jump out and punch someone. But there are people that will do that. There are people that were like, you flip me off.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything bad about Washington State, but there's definitely.
I feel like you're about to though.
And well, not bad, but there's definitely more of a percentage. Like, we came from California, and there's more of a percentage in Washington State of, like, people who own guns and drive pickup trucks and just, you know, I'm not saying anything against
it. It depends on what part of California, I think, but yeah.
Well, that's true. But there's, yeah, I am definitely careful about that.
Well, I definitely had older gentlemen in pickup trucks try to drive me off the road when I was growing up. You know, between 16 and 25.
Yeah, you grew up in Northern California, and I grew up in South. And
you grew up in Irvine. I mean, Irvine's.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Irvine. Okay, so we're going to talk about similarities and differences between California drivers and Washington drivers.
Yeah.
So Californian drivers are really usually pretty confident in what they're doing, and I mean, on the verge
sometimes
of aggressive. Yeah. more on the verge of aggressive than confident. But confidence is important.
Sure.
You need to know what you're going to do. You need to be confident about it. And if you're not, and if you're wishy-washy, that can be just as dangerous as, you know, being aggressive. So that's the thing about Washington drivers is they're usually, I mean, a lot of them aren't confident, and they're like, they signal to get over, and it'll take them like 5 to 10 seconds before they realize that there's no one there.
I actually feel like that comes from a place of like, actually what I've noticed since I've been here, and I've said that since I got here, is people tend to let you over. Not always, but way more than I experienced in California. It was in California, everybody was going so fucking fast that it was like, you either get in and get going or get the fuck out of the way. Whereas here, if you have your blinker on, somebody will eventually let you over. Like, I drive into the city every morning, and in California, if you were to wait until the last second before an exit to try to get over, nobody's letting you over. Every morning I see someone, and the Californian in me is 6 cars back going, why the fuck you let that guy?
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck? 30 more seconds? God damn it.
That all the time.
But I also realize that it's a good thing. It's, you know, people here are a little bit more patient with each other. I think people are used to going the speed limit, oftentimes less so. California, you're not used to going 10 miles an hour, less than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. If you're on the freeway and you're doing less than
20.
70, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Here, if you're going 70, you're getting a ticket. It's happening unless you're on I-90, which is actually 70. But if you're on I-5 and you're going 70 miles an hour, you got to keep an eye on your rear view because that fucking cop's going to find you.
Yeah. I was going to say usually the reason I didn't visit LA was because of the driving, because like there's a difference between driving on the freeway in Orange County and in LA. And in Orange County, it's like in between LA and Washington. People will let you over eventually. Like, they're not as aggressive. But in LA, you can't change lanes without cutting someone off.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's impossible.
Expectation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm going to piss somebody off today.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not somebody.
Like, I can't possibly get to where I'm going without pissing off at least 5 people.
Like, and the best part is
it's part of the journey.
You know you're going to go piss someone off. You know you are. But when somebody does it to you, you're like fucking livid. You're like, how dare they cut me off? It's like, I just did it six seconds ago. Yeah. But if somebody does it to me, how fucking dare you?
The best part is when it's the same person.
Oh,
and you get to go like, oh yeah, I cut you off, but you just fucking cut me off, so fuck you.
Exactly.
Do you ever do that? Do you like, you have a car cut you off or do something, and then you're like, okay, if I see that car again, like
you make a mental image.
Yeah.
Up here though, it's like, if I see that Subaru again, you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Chances are you're going to see that Subaru again.
I do that when someone will like change lanes, like, you know, when it's like crawl traffic. And someone will change lanes and like zoom ahead because they think the other lane's going to go faster. That happens on I-405 all the time. Well, and there are specific. It's true because there are specific parts where there's like an exit or there's like a toll lane entrance, and it will slow down in one lane more than the other consistently every day. So people like zoom ahead, and I'm like, okay, that black SUV, I'm going to see him in 5 minutes because this lane's going to start going faster again. And I'm going to be like, ah!
And I don't know about you. I don't know about you, but that's their name in my head. Like, if somebody cuts me off, I'm like, fuck you, BMW! Fuck you, Audi! And there's no name, there's no person, it's just that car.
That's what we were talking about with the impersonal like relationship between drivers. It's like, that's not another person, that's like another car. Because you see their car doing the...
And that's one of the things I'm trying to get better at now, especially now being a dad. Like, I think about it and I go, okay, it's not just me anymore. I'm not responsible for just me in the car. It's me and my wife, and now it's a kid, and my wife's pregnant. So it's like I'm responsible for 3 other human beings outside of myself. And so I don't feel the need to speed and get aggressive now because I'm like, hey, it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. But at the same token, I'm more upset when people put my car in danger because I'm like, fuck, it's not just me now. And generally speaking, it always ends up happening on the passenger side. Like all the crap that's going down now is on the passenger side. It's never on my side. It's on that side. And so for me, I go, okay, you're balancing, don't have your kids grow up watching you rage in traffic, but at the same time, you want to protect your kids from crazy drivers. So it's like that constant balance back and forth of how angry do I get and how angry do I allow myself to show? So a lot of times it's just squeezing the center console like, oh, fuck.
Well, I definitely have people that I learned road rage and aggressive driving from. But
whoever
I won't name names.
Well, it's funny. It's funny that you say that because we're in traffic yesterday. Not even traffic, literally turning and going a different direction. And there's been a long-standing theory that the first swear word that comes out of our daughter's mouth is going to be because of me. And I keep saying, I'm like, I don't think so. Like, my wife tends to slip a little bit more than I do in weird times. And we come around a corner and some guys like zips past us and I don't say anything. And you just hear her go, motherfucker. And I literally just, my immediate reaction is, only mommy speaks that way. So I'm just waiting for my daughter, motherfucker, to be in the back seat and be like, I told you it wasn't me. But you just see her cover her mouth and she realizes it and she's looking in the mirror to see if our daughter caught it. But it's funny how being in a vehicle can completely alter just your etiquette. And that's literally the Louis C.K. bit, not to plagiarize on his shit, though it's impossible because the dude's a genius. Yeah. But it really is. You say things, you think things that are wild. Yeah, you said never think.
You said the thing about the elevator, where if you were in an elevator with that person, would you just look over and say asshole?
Yeah, right.
No,
there's etiquette. But when you're in the car, all etiquette goes out the window.
Like 2 panes of glass and boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I think the thing about like aggressiveness versus, I think there's a fine line between being aggressive and being unsafe.
Sure.
And like some people cross it more than others, but I always try to be aware of when I'm like aggressively like passing someone versus like unsafely passing someone. Like I will like zoom around them because they were going slow, but I'm not gonna like not check if there's someone in the next lane or blah blah blah. And I think what worries me is that there are people out there who sometimes take aggressiveness over safety, and they'll like do things that are just not, you shouldn't do with a car.
Of course.
On a public road. And it's like, that always bugs me. But there are less of those in Washington and California. Oh, yeah. But there's still some.
And the Washingtonians would 100% blame the California transplants.
Yeah, of course.
If you guys didn't move up here, it wouldn't happen.
Yep.
And slowly but surely, I'm starting to go, yeah, I get it.
But
get it.
Some of them are in pickup trucks. And some might have been here a while, but I won't say anything more about that. So we saw Logan.
Yep.
Logan. Did you see Wolverine?
The Wolverine, the one where he goes to Japan? No, I saw bits and pieces of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing yet. It kind of makes me want to go back and watch it now.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was like, what other trilogies get better as they go on?
Consistently, like by the third one's the best one. I can't think of a situation where the third one's the best one. I mean, Terminator 2 is better than Terminator 1, but they were both really good. But T3 was not.
You're right. There are a lot more that have a sequel. Like the second one is a lot better.
Godfather 2.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not a lot that have the third one as the best. But that is the case with Logan.
Yeah.
I definitely think that it was like, and the thing about it, which was interesting, is that it wasn't necessarily even a culmination of the other films. It was really just a good film on its own.
Well, yeah, for me not having seen the other ones, like I know the story of, Weapon X. Like I get it. Like sure. I understand, Wolverine, and I get Logan. I get the storyline. But having not seen those other ones, it didn't detract at all from the story and from what was going on. And I gotta say, it was really nice. As much as people make this huge fucking deal about rated R movies, rated R, superhero movies, and how it's going to dilute the water or whatever, I actually am very glad that they didn't have to tone down the violence. Like, I'm not saying every movie needs to be super violent.
Yeah.
But he's got motherfucking knives in his hands. I mean, he literally destroys people with his fists with blades.
Yep.
I mean, I can't imagine. And it was funny, before the movie, I said it's like Freddy Krueger. And then in the movie, they call him Freddy fucking Krueger. And I'm like, that's exactly my point. Like, Freddy Krueger, if that was a PG-13 movie, if Nightmare on Elm Street was PG-13, no.
That wouldn't
so it's good being able to see him get, because that's the thing, he is an angry character. That's one of the reasons I've always liked Wolverine, is he's got more anger than most. He's got like that violent streak like the Punisher does.
Yeah.
He's got an honorable side. And he's got that snark, not quite Iron Man sarcastic snark, and not quite Deadpool deadpan snark, but his own brand of humor. And he was able to display all of that. And I really appreciated that, not sitting there going, God, I wish he could have stuck that fucking blade through someone's head, you know?
Well, I like the idea is that he, going along with the snarkiness and the angriness, he's more relatable than other superheroes in the way that it's like, if you were to suddenly have claws grow out of your hands and like be asked to help, I would probably be pretty reluctant to help too. Like I wouldn't be like right on board. I wouldn't be like, yeah, sure, I'll go kill people for you. And
he didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is you could look at a lot of other regular mutants that were born a mutant or had some sort of traumatic experience that led them to be a mutant. Deadpool's experience, he went and did that purposely to try to stay alive. And Wolverine was basically like implanted with these things and then forced to kill, and was like, hey, and I don't want to do that. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to be controlled by anybody. I want to go just fucking leave me alone. And that was one of the relatable things with him, is he's not your normal gung-ho superhero. You know, I get that some people may not be able to relate to that because they're like, oh, you know, go be part of the team. But not everybody feels that way. People like to be left alone. And when you're in that world where mutants are considered villains, and he sees that the whole time, when other people think, oh, we can get along with humans and everybody's gonna be fine with us, he always knew, he's like, eventually it's gonna try to bite us in the ass.
Yeah.
And so he had that cynical point of view, which was actually accurate.
Yeah.
So this movie being able to play on that, and he didn't pull punches, was fucking awesome. Like, it started, the very beginning of the movie was like, this is what you're in for. Like, arms are falling off and feet are falling off. You're like, all right, I get on board with this one.
Yeah, that cold open was pretty intense. I think that's a good theme that the X-Men universe has that comes up a lot, is that the mutants didn't ask to be mutants, and how they deal with that, and some of them deal with it in different ways, and how that can affect others and humanity, and and they definitely explored that with bringing X-23 in. Is that her name? Shit.
I don't remember.
Nerds.
All I gotta say is,
wait. Disclaimer: we're not nerds. Just going from now on, please don't like think that we know our shit.
There will be times where the audience is going to know more about a topic than we do, and that's perfectly fine.
I respect that people like really dive into these universes and like know a lot about them, and they keep track of like all the different storylines and characters, and it's really cool.
Well, it's kind of like with us, we could be called nerdy for how excited we get about Game of Thrones stuff.
Oh, sure.
And we're spending several $100s to go listen to an orchestra while we watch film of one of our favorite shows.
Yeah.
By the way, that will be next week, so we will definitely give a review on our next podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Pertaining to that, because I have a feeling we're going to
just to explain, we're going to see
all over myself.
We're going to see the composer of the Game of Thrones score.
I'd say his name, but I have no idea how to pronounce it. Ramin Djawahiri.
Someone is going to, speaking of people writing in to correct us. No, he's going to conduct a live orchestra and choir, and it's going to be amazing. And
I will let you guys know if Gary cries. It will.
Oh, that's not a question. Especially, there's
so X-23.
Themes. Okay, no. I was right. X-23. I think the idea of bringing her in.
And what was the actress's name? Is it like Daphne or something? Daisy?
I don't know, but she was amazing.
So that's my point. Like, I want to give her credit. Like, she killed it. I think she's the first kid. I think she's her first role. I mean, and for the first 45 minutes to an hour, she doesn't say a word. And her ability to portray her emotions and how scared she was and how she felt and all those things, Daphne. Yeah. She killed it, man. Like, she went toe to toe with Dr. Tank Top. You know, I mean, she really fucking Hugh Jackman. Whenever I think of Hugh Jackman, I think of Dr. Cox from Scrubs.
It's true. It's got to be pretty intimidating. I mean, she couldn't have been more than like 12, probably younger. But yeah, playing opposite Hugh Jackman, that's got to be insane and intimidating.
Yeah. I mean, he's been Wolverine for, I mean, shit, the first X-Men came out when I was in high school.
2000, I think. It's been 17 years.
Yeah, and that's a character that's been around for a long time, and with so many reboots and recasts and all those things, I mean, to have the original Wolverine from the first scene when we saw, the original X-Men, and he's in that fight, and you're like,
in the fight,
this is Wolverine.
Yeah, and the bar fight, and that's great. No, what I was going to say about X-23 was that it added a different dimension to the mutant idea, like the societal implications of mutants, and also of Logan's character. Like his arc in this movie was like really compelling and very well written, and I really liked it. Yeah,
agreed. Yeah, and I think it was cool to see, because normally he tries really hard to not be responsible for other people. And there have been times where he's reluctantly taken that role and been like, okay, I'm going to help the team. But he always has been he always does a pretty good job of looking out for himself first. Yeah. Even when he's looking out for other people, self-preservation is key, and he wants to make sure. But you can see in this movie that he's at the end of his line. He's ready to move on. He doesn't want to be this anymore. It's not his life. And then you see him switch from what he wants to what he thinks is best for the kid. Yeah. And it was really cool because it gave you that fatherhood thing. You're thinking, wow, Wolfie as a dad, like that's fucking crazy. Like think about it, like holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah,
but he's playing this father figure to this young, angry, rightly so, new mutant who was basically tortured and taken away from the only family that she knows, essentially. So to see that character that's normally so selfish, I don't mean to say that in such a negative way, but selfish, be selfless for something else was really, really cool. And it brought that character fully around and made it really relatable to people that may not have been able to relate to him in the past. So that was really cool. And it kind of reminded me of how I feel about the Punisher. Like a lot of people don't relate to the Punisher depending on the comics and the movies. And I know people aren't huge fans of the movies, but I liked that he had that like he was mean and violent, but it was for a reason. Like it was heartbreak more than anything else. Yeah. And so like that, those kind of characters, those flawed heroes have always been my favorite, which is, we can go on for an hour about Batman versus Superman, and that tends to be why I feel that way.
You got to see, you haven't seen Daredevil season 2 where the Punisher comes in.
No.
John Bernthal, is that his name? Yeah. From Walking Dead. Yeah. He just did a phenomenal job as that character. And there's a lot of episodes that really focus in on his story, and it's really good. But we can talk about that in another time. But I think you're right about that. Now that you say that, his character, the way that John Bernthal portrayed the Punisher was very similar to Logan.
And the thing is, I think part of the reason Punisher wasn't super successful was it was also before they, I don't want to say figured out how to do violent and dark superhero movies, because as we've talked about, nowadays you see every superhero movie's got a fucking dark tint to it, at least the DC universe.
I think that started with Watchmen or around there.
I think Watchmen did, but Dark Knight was dark.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Because Watchmen didn't perform nearly as well as they had hoped for.
Yeah.
And Dark Knight was so wildly successful. But if you think about it now, if you really look at the chains, it's DC. Marvel doesn't really do that. Marvel's still pretty bright. Like Avengers is still pretty bright.
You got Spider-Man and
Spider-Man, very vivid, very bright colors. Whereas like Suicide Squad, it's a murky, dark, jumbled mess. And you're like, why do they all have to be? And I don't mean dark thematically. I mean, why the fuck does it have to be so dark that I need to like turn on a goddamn light or turn my brightness up on my TV? It seems fucking weird to me.
Yeah.
And Justice League trailer looked exactly the same too.
I understand the idea that Gotham is dark.
Sure.
A dark city. And
he's Batman.
He's Batman. But
it's at night. That makes sense.
At the same time,
Superman was
when you have
the sun.
Right. When you have Superman being like maroon instead of bright red and like navy blue instead
and morose. And this motherfucker's running around pouting. It's like, dude, you're basically God. Like, that's nothing can hurt you but kryptonite, which like one person can get his fucking hands on.
We've talked
and
about
you're moping. Like,
we've talked about how Superman is not our favorite.
I can't do it. I can't get on board with the Superman train because for me, it's it's hard for me to root for someone that really has no flaws. Like I always,
and there's no consequences for him. I mean, there's the part with Lois and like how he cares about some humans,
sure, and
humanity like generally as a whole, but he can only have so much empathy and compassion for a complete other species that he just happened to land on their planet.
Well, but he also was raised here, like. You know, like
that's true.
He was raised on Earth, so he's supposed to care about people, and he was raised by humans that cared about him. And so I get that he's supposed to care. I will say one of the things, and this is going to be completely off topic, was one of the reasons I like Hancock. I like the first half hour, 40 minutes of Hancock, because he's a dick. Like, he's a dick. I mean, if every time people got in peril, I had to go save their ass, I'd get annoyed too.
Sure. Not just that, but if you're like a crime fighting superhero, I'm sure it would get really fucking annoying if like crime just kept happening and you're like, why the fuck do people just keep committing crimes? Why? I shouldn't even have to be. It'd be like, I don't know, what's like an occupation that would be like a janitor who always had to clean up the shit in the bathroom. It's like, why don't you just shit in the toilet?
The fucked up thing is that I think that actually makes superheroes more realistic, because janitors do clean shit regularly. But no, that's true. Like it's got to be frustrating. It's got to be stressed. You got to get to a point where you're worn out. But that's the part about Superman that's always annoyed me.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that's what they're trying to do now, is they're trying to make him a little bit more relatable, a little less excited to be Superman, a little bit more. Yeah. But also in the newer movies, he's being portrayed somewhat as a villain. Like they're basically like, hey, all these buildings got destroyed because you were trying to fight this guy. And even though you're thinking you're saving us, you're destroying our shit. He really was. He was fucking up their shit.
You know what I love about that? Really what that was Zack Snyder's directorial choice. And, well, I mean, this is just the theory. I might be wrong. But...
Theories are welcome here.
Okay, so this is the theory, is that was really Zack Snyder's directorial choice, to have it, like, big and bombastic and, like...
Bombaskin. Words by Gary.
Getting drunk again. And so he wants buildings falling down and like all this stuff happening. And then fans, of course, go, whoa, what the fuck? They're destroying the whole city and Superman doesn't care about that. And then the producers were like, oh, shit, you're right. Okay. So Batman's going to be angry at Superman for doing this because that was Superman's choice, that he didn't pay attention to the buildings. It's like, don't pay attention to Zack Snyder in the corner.
Never mind him. He'll slow things down and speed them up and slow them down and speed them up. You'll be
good. So that's just my theory. I might be wrong, but
no, it's wholly possible, and that's it. That's what I've noticed though, is the DC movies are going that direction. Everything's really dark. Like, we just watched the Justice League trailer, and the thing is there's some cool thoughts. I don't think Ben Affleck looks terrible as Batman. He doesn't look terrible. I think he brings a good, like, his physical presence is strong.
You're definitely right. Ben Affleck, I think, I laugh about the people who complained about him being cast, because he was just like the best part of Batman versus Superman, in my opinion. Because he, like, we had Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, George Clooney, and they're all pretty built, but we never had we never have a Batman that is like a tank, and like
Ben Affleck's a big dude.
Ben Affleck's a big dude, and he really worked out for this movie, and I think it's awesome.
And people, if you think about it, people bitched about every Batman at some point. I mean, I don't remember, because I was too young to remember people bitching about Michael Keaton, and to be fair, that was before the internet. So, I mean, nowadays, if Michael Keaton got cast as Batman, we don't know. People may have thrown a hissy about that too. But people had issues with Val Kilmer. I understand Batman Forever is not the greatest movie. I enjoyed it as a kid. I liked Jim Carrey. Mm-hmm. And Tommy Lee Jones was pretty wacky as Two-Face. Though I think Aaron Eckhart, like, I liked his Two-Face. Like, his was really, really good. People had a problem with Christian Bale and his voice, and that never bothered me like it did everybody else. But
I can understand why it bothers people, but it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, it never like took me out of, swear to me. It's like, oh God, I can't watch this anymore. Like, why?
Where's the trigger?
Yeah. Where is she? Like, for me, it never fucking bothered me.
But yeah, I love seeing Ben Affleck in, like, a really tight suit, like barely like fitting in it. Okay,
getting some behind the scenes action here. No, I get what you mean. It didn't look like a guy's putting on a costume. It looked like a guy was wearing armor.
Right.
Yeah. No, I completely get where you're coming from.
But the thing about the Justice League trailer, in my opinion, it looks like a video game.
I think that, but that's Zack
like
Snyder's
with the
style.
army of robots and like I don't know. It just doesn't look compelling or interesting.
Well, and maybe it's just there are people out there that are super excited about it. There are people that aren't. I don't consider myself someone who is like anxiously waiting for it. It's always nice to have a Saturday HBO movie where you're like, fuck, it's the middle of the day. What am I going to watch? And one of those things comes on. You're like, oh, it was better than I expected. So yeah, those kind of movies for me, that's what they end up being. Like kind of like the Transformers series. I don't expect them to be good, but when they're so murky that I can't really make out what's happening, that's when I get bothered. I'm like, and if you can think about it, go back to Green Lantern. That's kind of how they've been lately. Did
you actually see that?
Yeah, with Ryan Reynolds.
See it.
Yeah, it was I didn't think it was as terrible as everybody else made it out to be. It wasn't good. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens because you have the Avengers. I think they have one more coming, right? And then you have
the second part, third movie.
Sure. And then you have Spider-Man coming this year, which
I mean, not the second part, but the 2-part third.
Yeah,
whatever.
And depending on who you ask about Spider-Man, some people are really excited about it. Some people are jaded and a little fatigued because it's the third reboot.
It is, but I think I heard someone say this on Reddit too, and I agree with them, is that Spider-Man is so endearing and everyone so wants him to be in a good movie that no matter how many times it's rebooted, we always want it to be good. That's kind of how I look at it. I really hope that this one is good.
I think we saw the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
And I don't remember it. Like I know I saw it.
It's not memorable. Yeah.
I don't remember it at all.
Both of those are just they had good things going on. Like I think Andrew Garfield was pretty good, but like he wasn't awkward enough.
Got it.
You know, like he's really good looking and
well, if you're able to pull Emma Stone, I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to relate to you as having a problem.
But there wasn't enough in those movies that was like made it different enough from the other franchise to warrant it.
Got it.
But I think this one having Iron Man involved and like he's part of the universe and he's in these other movies already, and I think it'll be more. It'll feel like it'll matter more than the Garfield one.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna stop that. So that's it for episode 1.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things we'd like to include each week is topics that you may have in mind, things you may want Gary and I to discuss, things that piss you off. If you have questions, comments, concerns, just want to tell us to go fuck ourselves, that's perfectly fine. You can reach out to us at unreasonablyangrypodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on our Facebook.
Yeah. We'd love to know what you think, and we'd love to discuss things that are on your mind.
Yeah, well. So until next time, I'm Eric.
And I'm Gary.
Stay angry out there, fuckers.
Stay angry, San Diego.